Bucknutters. Welcome to the Bucknuts Morning 5 here on Friday, March 18th, 2016. I am Dave Biddle, joined by Steve Helwagen. Steve, how's your bracket doing so far?
Well, I got to tell you, wasn't real happy about the Seton Hall result. Gonzaga, to me, just kind of limped into the tournament. But otherwise, I think I hung in there pretty good. So I'm waiting to see, this is kind of like Groundhog Day. We do it all again from 12 to midnight again today. And looking forward to it on day two. Purdue, that was really something. Nice job, Purdue. Otherwise,
no kidding.
Hanging in there. Yeah,
Purdue was my big loss yesterday. I had them in the Sweet 16 for some reason. Really stupid on my part. I love their big guys, and I forgot the cardinal rule that the tournament is a point guard's game, and Purdue does not have a good point guard or a real point guard. There are times in that game where Little Rock was pressing them, but Purdue didn't even have a point guard out there. That leads me into my first topic here. Markell Johnson, a point guard the Buckeyes really want to land. Talk about him a little bit, Steve. He is ranked as the number 16 point guard in the country, number 65 overall player in the country, but that's in the class of 17. He's going to reclassify to 2016, I believe, and will be eligible this fall. Do you think he's going to land at Ohio State? Might he go elsewhere? Just tell the listener everything they need to know about Markell Johnson from Cleveland East Tech.
Yeah, I like Markell a lot. I've seen him play quite a bit. He is a tremendous point guard. He plays for the King James Shooting Stars AAU team based out of Akron. Drew Joyce kind of helps spearhead that program. And I really like what I've seen. I know he averaged about 31 points a game at East Technical High School there in Cleveland. And he's just a tremendous talent. And I think he's still trying to reconcile whether or not he wants to move or is able to move up a year. And I know that Louisville made a big play for him, Ohio State, Virginia Tech, NC State, and Cleveland State. Those were his 5 that he listed. And I think the Buckeyes are looking at him as somewhat of a hedge in case something happens with Jaquan Lyle if he decides he wants to go and play professionally, and I didn't say enter the NBA draft, but, anymore what we've seen with LaQuinton Ross, Deshaun Thomas, they're not really as concerned about playing in the NBA as they are just playing somewhere and getting paid to play. So it's kind of unclear where Jaquan Lyle's head is right now regarding that, and I think that we also saw in the NIT game it was kind of a new look for them to have Harris and Lyle both out there at the same time, and, maybe his future is to play a little bit more at the 2. So, yeah, Markell Johnson would be a tremendous, tremendous hedge for the Buckeyes. At the same time, I'm a big Andre Wesson fan, so we'll see him in the state semis today for Westerville South, and he's done nothing but show out for Westerville South all season long and through the tournament. He's just played tremendously well, and I want to see how he does as well. And it's a good problem to have, I guess, for Ohio State that they've got guys lined up and just trying to figure out how to get them all into the 14 eggs into a 12-egg container, I guess.
Hey, let me ask you this, Steve. Is there a scenario where the Buckeyes could land Markell Johnson and Jaquan Lyle could come back next year? Or is it like one or the other? Could they be on the same team next year? Is that possible?
Definitely. It seems to me like they are prioritizing Markell Johnson. Otherwise, they would have already offered Andre Wesson. So that's kind of where things are at. It's really a weird situation. It seems like they want Markell to come to 2016 and Andre Wesson to go to 2017 and take a prep school year and enroll alongside his brother Caleb, which would have its pluses and minuses, I guess, from his standpoint. But a lot of people talk about Richmond, may be the team to beat for Andre Wesson. They've offered him. They're pretty good Atlantic 10 program, but for him to have a chance to play at Ohio State, I think he's keeping all options open at this point, and maybe when the state tournament's over, we'll have a better idea. But to me, definitely, I think they want Markell Johnson. I think they realize that they need one more guard who can make things happen in the backcourt. They're kind of thin there. They've got all the big men they'll ever need. So, to me, I think landing Johnson will be huge for the Buckeyes.
One quick follow-up on Markell Johnson. I know everybody's asking about him. If you had to bet right now, do you think he'll be a Buckeye or do you think he'll go elsewhere?
Oh, man, that is tough. I'm going to say Ohio State lands him. I just think that they're going to put on the full court push, and it is the hometown school, even though he's from Cleveland. I think they do have the geography advantage in this. And, I think he's just trying to reconcile in his mind whether or not he can make that jump or whether his academics are lined up to where he can do that. So, to me, I think it is Ohio State, and I guess we'll just have to wait and see how it all plays out.
Speaking of point guards in the state, I get a lot of questions about Xavier Simpson from Lima Senior. He just won Mr. Basketball in the state of Ohio. He's, of course, committed to Michigan, and I think people are still recovering from the Trey Burke scenario where the Buckeyes landed Shannon Scott. They thought they were set at point guard. Shannon Scott is McDonald's All-American. Trey Burke at the time, his best offer was Penn State, who he had committed to. Then he blew up as a senior, committed to Michigan. And then he was tremendous at Michigan during his 2 years. I think people are like, oh, no, is Xavier Simpson the next Trey Burke? Just give your thoughts on that. The Buckeyes obviously signed 2 point guards last year with A.J. Harris, Jaquan Lyle, even though I don't really think Lyle is a point guard, but that's a show for another day. Did the Buckeyes screw up with the Xavier Simpson situation, Steve, or is this just how, the cards sometimes fall?
Yeah, I think it's just how the cards fall. I think that the timing for Ohio State basketball recruiting just, for whatever reason, it just seems to be off. I can't explain it. When they need a big man, there's no big man. When they need a guard, there's no guard. It's just kind of weird. But I would say they had D'Angelo Russell, obviously, who they thought might be around another year, although, that's a tough one to say. And then, obviously, Jaquan Lyle fell in their lap. They had A.J. Harris lined up for a long time. They never really made a big play for Xavier Simpson, and Ohio State fans want to denigrate him because of that. But the thing is, he did have offers. Indiana, Wisconsin, Xavier had offered earlier in the process until they filled up. And obviously he's going to Michigan. I think he's a very good player. He had 65 points, 59 points in 2 separate games this year. Was the Mr. Basketball Award winner, shot 37% on threes. And so there's nothing really negative you can say about the kid. He's the son of a coach, and I watched him play AU. He's just kind of a grinder. He's a great leader of a team. So, and his teams have had great success. King James was very good, and obviously he was in the state Final Four at Lima Catholic Central, and then now is back there with Lima Senior. We'll see him in action today. So, yeah, there's nothing really negative you can say about it. Just didn't work out with him in Ohio State.
Final basketball topic. We'll end with some football chatter, listeners out there. We'll end with some football, don't worry. But sticking with the basketball, Ohio State will play host Florida on Sunday in the NIT. The game will be televised by ESPN. Tip-off is at noon at the Shot. So really lucked into this one, Steve. Florida, as I'm sure most people know by now, their arena is under construction. So Florida normally would be hosting this game, and they had to go on the road for their first round game. Florida did to play North Florida. They blew them out, and now they will travel up here to Columbus. So I've kind of gotten into this, man. This is going to be pretty cool. It's like, you wouldn't want to go to the NIT every year, but every 9 years, if they can go all the way and win it again. I remember being excited last time when they won it all. So I think if they can get past Florida, they have a very good path. They then play Monmouth probably next, depending on what happens with their game. But just your thoughts on Ohio State against Florida, NIT Sunday at the Shot, high noon on ESPN, Steve.
Yeah, I think it's a tough matchup. The team just defeated North Florida by 30 points, and they had 16 three-pointers in the game. We all know how Ohio State can sometimes struggle defending the three, although Akron was 9 of 40 or whatever they ended up. So that didn't turn out too bad for them in that game. And Akron, obviously shoots a lot of threes. Dorian Finney-Smith is a dynamic guard for them and a guy that people want to keep an eye on. Chris Chio's a very impressive diminutive point guard. So when he and A.J. Harris are out there, it's almost like mirror images a little bit. But, yeah, I think it's going to be a fun game, and the Buckeyes will need to bring their A game if they expect to advance to the Final 8 in the NIT. Florida played one of the best schedules, I think, in the country, and they were among several teams, obviously, that got left at the altar here. Mike White is their coach. It's no longer Billy Donovan, as our friend Billy Packer used to refer to him. He's now obviously with Oklahoma City in the NBA and coaching Kevin Durant. So it's kind of a different look from the Gators, and, obviously there's a rivalry there. They played each other for the national championship back in 2007, and should be a fun game on Sunday at the Shot. And obviously Keita Bates-Diop should be back from his illness, and the Buckeyes, other than Jay-Sean Tate, should be raring to go, and we'll just see if they can pull this one off and move on to the Final Eight.
Finishing up with some football here, the Buckeyes had this week off for spring break, and I saw Stephen Collier is on the beach this week, but he was working with Jeff Garcia out in California, so good for Stephen Collier working on his craft. I think a lot of fans have given up on him, but hey, it was only 2 years ago where the Buckeyes were down to their third-string quarterback, so you never know. They will resume spring ball on Tuesday, Steve, and we'll get a chance to watch the first hour of practice Tuesday morning. We'll get a chance to interview Coach Urban Meyer afterward. I'm looking for some guys that are coming off of injuries. I hope they can get healthy and get out there. Guys like Cam Burrows, they said maybe after spring break Cam Burrows could get out there. He had the broken foot last year. They really need depth at safety. They've already moved 2 corners to safety this spring. They moved Eric Glover-Williams to safety, then they moved Damon Webb to safety. So getting Cam Burrows back will be big if they can do that. Just what are you looking for the remainder of spring ball, specifically Tuesday when it starts back up? What are some things you're really looking forward to seeing, Steve?
Well, my recollection is those guys will get back from spring break, and Tuesday will be a tough day for those guys. They'll obviously have to go to class Monday and then Tuesday, and then they're practicing in the morning, which is good. And I think that my recollection is that they really put them through their paces on that first practice back to kind of make them regret whatever it was that they did during spring break. So, but yeah, they're going to get them back going, and by the end of the week, they should be in full pads. And I think that's when real football will kick in. And I think that it's going to be obviously the guys who put the time in and the effort and the extra effort this winter. Those will be the guys that come to the forefront this spring. The guys who want to win jobs. And I think we'll start to see some separation, perhaps, between guys who are ready to start for this team and guys that will, remain backups or whatever. But, it is a very thin roster this spring. You got so many guys coming in, and it's so young. And a guy can look great one day and then not so great the next day. And it's just a matter of trying to bring everything you have each day out there to make that effort to become a starting player on this team. I mean, this is really a process, and people think, oh, they're just interchangeable drill bits. You lose Darren Lee, you put Chris Worley in there, and off you go. Well, maybe that's not the best example because Worley's got 3 years in the program, but you got a lot of guys who've never played really any football who now have to take on starting roles, like Jamarco Jones and Demetrius Knox, perhaps, on the offensive line, and even the guy Prince, who got to play a little bit as a freshman. None of them have really played much football. So to me, Dave, the big thing this week is to see which guys come back from this 1 week hiatus ready to go, and who's going to start making the push to win jobs. And I'm sure we'll be all over that this week to see which guys are making that run.
That's correct. After we watch a lot of basketball this weekend, we will then transition back to football next week a little bit, while still keeping an eye on the basketball next week as well. Great stuff, as always, out of Steve Helwagen. Thanks to the listeners out there for tuning in. I appreciate it. Hope you guys have a great day and a great weekend. Play that Buckeye swag, best damn band in the land.